All right, so we're diving into some newly declassified stuff, right? Fresh from the National Archives. It's, one of those FBI memos, memorandum for the record, they call it. Basically, an internal FBI note. But here's the thing. The date on this thing just jumps out at you. November 22nd, 1963.
Wow, talk about a date that resonates. November 22nd, 1963, the day Kennedy was assassinated.
Exactly. So what we're going to do in this deep dive is really try to unpack the info tucked away in this specific record.
I think what grabs you right away is the timing of it all. I mean, having a document like this created on the very day of such a massive event, it's like a raw, unfiltered lens right into the information swirling around at the time. And then there's the content itself. Chicago connection, a direct threat. I mean, where does that fit in with, everything else we might already know?
Yeah, it's a good point. So this memo, it talks about a phone call the FBI got in Dallas. You can just imagine the flood of information pouring in that day.
Right.
And this call, they're saying it came from somebody anonymous. So, okay, we got this anonymous call, and this person's claiming some link to Chicago and talking about, killing the president. What are your initial thoughts on that? What questions pop up right away when you hear those basic details?
Well, the fact that it's anonymous, right off the bat, it makes you wonder about the caller, their motivation. Like, how reliable is this information? But then you have the specifics mentioning a Chicago office, a plan. It doesn't sound like just some, random outburst in the heat of the moment. It suggests there might be something more to it, even if it's vague, like a possible lead investigators would have to consider in all that chaos.
Exactly. And the memo, it lays it out. This call came in roughly 25 minutes before the motorcade got to Dallas. 25 minutes. That time frame, it just seems so incredibly crucial in terms of, how seriously they could have even taken this threat, let alone acted on it.
Absolutely. I mean, 25 minutes, that tight window throws up a huge question. Even if they did pass this info on, what could anyone realistically do in those final minutes? It really puts a spotlight on the immense pressure and the split-second decisions they were facing.
It really does. It makes you think about the whole security setup for a presidential motorcade, right? To get a specific threat like this with only 25 minutes to spare, what does that say about their ability to actually respond?
It just highlights how tough it is to sift through so much information, especially during a crisis. It raises questions about how they communicated, how quickly they could check out a threat like this, and whether they could even do anything about it in that tiny window of time.
So just to sum it up for everyone, we're looking at this FBI memo dated November 22nd, 1963. It's a record of this anonymous phone call they got about 25 minutes before Kennedy was assassinated. The caller, they say they've got some connection to a Chicago office, and they're saying straight up, I'm going to kill the president.
And the thing is, this little piece of information, it carries a ton of weight. It makes you think, what did they do, if anything, after that call with so little time? This memo might not give us all the answers, but it shows just how much information was swirling around, how complex it all was. It makes you wonder how many other signs, big or small, just got lost in all the noise that day.
It's a little glimpse into an absolutely overwhelming event. This anonymous call, recorded so close to the assassination, it hangs there. It makes you think about the pressure, the chaos, and how something that seems like a small detail could have huge implications.
Yeah, no doubt. It pushes us to really think about what we know and what we don't. It begs the question, could there have been warnings lost in the chaos right before everything changed? And it makes you think, how often do crucial bits of information slip through the cracks, and what are the consequences? Maybe digging into more of the stuff they're releasing about JFK might tell us if they followed up on this particular lead and give us more context.
That's a great point. A lot to think about for sure.